Would you say the word faggot on camera?
No.
Why?
Because
you don't want to get arrested, do you?
I don't want to be arrested.
Because it's so harmful to people?
No.
Is it like gay bashing? What's wrong with that?
No, would you use that word?
Faggot?
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah, but would you use it?
Faggot.
Okay, but why?
And I'm using it because you're not allowed to because you're...
I'm allowed to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to.
Say, I love gay people. Faggot.
I'm allowed to. I just choose not to.
You acknowledge that there's been no starvation, correct?
No.
You don't acknowledge that?
I don't acknowledge that.
Where are the videos and images of the starving Gazans?
Well, I've seen a lot, but you would dismiss them all as fakes. The UN says there was starvation, but you guys don't believe a word the UN says. The other official bodies say there was starvation. You don't want to hear a word they say. Israel denies everything. You can say that no Gazan has starved at all. The reports by almost every official body say the opposite, but you don't believe them. However, the best way to get to the truth is let journalists who are used to covering in war zones, let them go in and do their job, particularly now we have the ceasefire. There is a reason the Israeli government is not letting the media in. They are terrified about what the world will uncover.
I just think that's just...
Well, let them in.
I just think...
It's one way to find out.
A lot of them look fat. They have fresh clothes and fresh haircuts.
I've seen lots of images of Palestinians looking hungry.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't dispute that 20,000 plus children have died, right?
So whose fault is that? I mean...
You don't honestly think that life for a young Palestinian kid in Gaza in the last 2 years has been anything but utter hell-y. I do believe the 3-month blockade earlier this year was a criminal blockade. I believe it was deliberate starvation of a people, deliberately denying them food and aid. If you
has any other country in the history of the world been told to feed the people that are killing it? If you look at the Geneva
Convention, actually, but then no other country in the world has had the control that Israel has over Gaza, right? Well, which again is a whole separate issue. Show me another moment in the 75-year conflict where the response has been to kill 60 times as many people, and where you have hang on, let me finish. Where you have a government with people like Smodrich and Ben-Gvir who begin publicly, openly talking about ethnically cleansing all the Palestinians from Gaza, about annexing the West Bank, about taking complete control of all of it, to the point that Donald Trump had to step in and say that is not happening.
Random ministers
they're not random ministers.
About...
They're not two of the most senior people in the government.
No, but them talking about things is different. I mean,
I hear that a lot. Well, my point is this. You have a unique population in Gaza where half of them are under 18. There is a unique proportion of kids in this part of the world, right? So at what point do you try and find a different way to resolve this? The only solution that seemed to be being offered by Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, Smodrich and the others was to raise Gaza to the floor and to expel all Palestinians.
So,
Netanyahu would annex West Bank tomorrow.
He's been in power for 20-something years. He could have done it at any point. Notice he hasn't. I mean...
Come on.
No, but there's a couple things here. I mean, first off, I don't think any country in the world has ever been asked to feed the people that are holding its hostage, right? Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever called for any other country to do that, or anyone?
Well, okay,
has anyone ever called for that?
Well, British prisoners of war in World War II were fed.
Yeah. But
what's the difference?
What?
Prisoners of war in World War II were fed, so what's the difference?
Because they were holding hostages. They're holding their people. I mean, to me, it seems that you as a British citizen...
people being held hostage in Nazi prison. The Israeli government, which is a hard-right government, Smodrich and Ben-Gvir are not just right-wing, they're absolute far-right headbangers.
But meaning what? Meaning what? They have
meaning what? They want to ethnically cleanse the Palestinian people. Come on, Dave, they do.
They're in the government and they haven't taken an extra inch of the West Bank. They're not...
Well, actually, that's not true.
They haven't.
They've been expanding settlements left, right and centre.
They haven't.
Yes, they have.
Piers,
you know they have.
Piers, have you been to the West Bank?
You don't think there's been any expansion of settlements on the West Bank?
They build apartments. They build apartments in current places.
Has there been an aggressive expansion of settlements in the West Bank in this war?
An aggressive expansion of settlements
in the West Bank during this war?
No, 100% not.
Dave, there has been. You see everything to the prism of... There's nothing to see here, Gus.
No.
Israel has done no wrong.
No.
Have they done any wrong?
I don't know how to conduct a war exactly, but I know that if
it's all my question. Has the Israeli government done anything wrong in the way they prosecuted this war?
Not that I know of.
This war didn't start on October the 7th. This is a conflict that's been going on for 7 decades.
If you're gay, you're gay.
You are gay.
Do you not believe that?
Well, it's demonstrably not true because science tells us it's not true.
Do you think people are making it up?
I don't think they're making it up at all.
So what's your point?
I think that you can be moved in that direction through propaganda and pornography.
Come on, Vic Tucker.
Then how do you explain...
Is there anything that would make Could I make you gay?
How hard do you want to try?
not hard, I can tell you.
That's the spirit, Piers. There's a limit. Even an open-minded man like you kind of hate the gays.
Could I make you
I
gay?
make a little gay joke, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be gay. Oh, no.
She noticed a bunch of maroon shirts were in the crowd, and that's not the color for Utah Valley University, which like whatever. But and then she was like, and then I had no idea that was the color of the U.S. elite U.S. airborne operations, and then like hinting at that basically U.S. airborne operations which isn't a thing, by the way. That's not the way anyone in the military would say it.
Uh-huh.
It's not a thing. And there's tons of airborne, like there's the 82nd Airborne, there's all kinds of airborne units, and a lot of them, and we wear green berets, but anyone who's airborne wears a maroon beret. But they're not going out and buying maroon shirts because they're airborne. Even if that was like a thing, and then they're not like, oh, we're a part of this clandestine undercover assassination op, so we're going to wear our maroon shirts. It's the same as them pushing that they were like, there was 19 Israeli cell phones on that were active in UVU at the time of the shooting, and I'm like, okay, well, how many Chinese cell phones were there? And regardless of that at all,
right.
What kind of assassin or what kind of secret cabal uses their host nation cell phones in a world where we know that can be tracked? Like, when we got into country, we would immediately buy local cell phones, and that like burners, and those are what we would use for any kind of coordination outside of us to our team or to like home. And so in country, we're not using, no one's getting my US cell number or anything like that. It's all insane. And so that was really what and then I just started digging into more, because that's what I do. I see a narrative and I'm like, okay, let's look if there's any truth in this at all. And then if there is any truth, then we'll kind of go with it. So I went through her entire podcast, the series on Macron, and then how it evolved into this assassination plot and all that. And it's crazy. There's zero evidence. She never backs up with evidence. She's the same way that almost all grifters are, is they bring up all these different points. They bring up anomalies. They love bringing up anomalies. Right. This happened, so this there was an Egyptian plane, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're telling me that the Israeli government, the French government, and the Egyptian government, and the U.S. government, because you said U.S. airborne operations, are all involved in this plot to kill Charlie, but they really started to kill you. They wanted to kill you first because you said Macron's wife was a man?
All right, you guys, more hot tips coming in day by day. The plot thickens, and a crazy thing happened to me this morning. Very close call, actually, an attempt on my life. I was at a French bakery that I often eat at for breakfast, Les Moissons Isabelle, and I was eating a croissant, and I nearly choked. Just eating a croissant, minding my business, took a bite, tried to swallow, went down the wrong pipe. Thank God I just went and it came out. When I coughed up the croissant and cleared my throat, I just sat there thinking, something doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. I don't know. Something doesn't feel right. And when I feel something, I know something. When I feel something, especially lodged in my throat, I know. I don't know, but I know. Clearly, there were some deep state actors in the French government, in the Macron government, in the French Legionnaires that were behind this attempt to take me out. And I'm not going to let a croissant, one that I was enjoying at the time, take the fall. And then, a few moments later, something very interesting happened. If you look up the address of this alleged bakery, you find that it's listed as 47 Saint Germain Street. Now, if you look back in history, if you look at it, there was a famous battle in World War II that we were all taught in our schools growing up, that it was shoved down our throat, the Battle of Saint Germain-sur-Seine in July 1944. And it's described as a significant engagement during the Normandy breakout involving the U.S. 90th Infantry Division and German forces. During this battle, American forces suffered heavy losses but secured a key crossroads position, leading to a difficult advance toward the town of Perrier. It got me thinking, this croissant, this bakery, this thing I almost choked on, it's all military. It's all military. Later in the day for lunch, I had pasta, and I thought, are the Italians involved? I don't know. We'll see. But we all know the Italians, of course, have ties to the mafia, who are responsible for doing certain things to people. But of course, that's just how Hollywood portrays them, right? There's also Jewish mafia, because these movies were made by Jewish people in Hollywood to portray Italians as mobsters. But why not Jewish mobsters? Why leave that out? I just find it interesting. Of course, at this very same Italian restaurant, they served Italian sausage, which made me think of no one other than Brigitte Macron. Something doesn't feel right. Coincidence? Were they trying to tell me something? I looked at it. I thought, maybe, I don't know, maybe. Bottom line is, I will not be eating any breakfast for the next few months just to be safe. I was considering eating a bagel, but we all know who makes those. The Frankists, the Zionists. Not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Why would I even try to do that? We all know a bagel is even harder than a croissant, and the likelihood of choking is even higher. Not going to fall for it. Not going to fall for it. I will not be manipulated. I will not be pressured to eat anything that could cause me to choke. But I will say I am hungry. And for those of you who don't know, research has said that going long periods without food, especially breakfast, can cause one to hallucinate, be delusional, and imagine things are happening that aren't actually happening.